Hey everyone, in today's video I'll be going over the best Katana build that works amazingly well in PvP fights and when you're just running through the world of Elden Ring. Don't forget to subscribe for more weekly content. I also have a Discord set up for anyone looking for more people to play with. The link to that and other Elden Ring related videos will be in the description down below. I'll start this build off with our main weapons of choice. The first one being the Nagakiba. You'll want this exact katana because the range on this thing is ridiculous. It's the biggest katana you can use. It's even longer than ultra greatswords. But the second reason we're going with this is because of its heavy poke attack that gives this really big weapon even more ridiculous range. We can also place an Ash of War on this, which is going to be extremely important. For that, we're using Seppuku. You stab yourself taking a little bit of damage to place a bleed effect on the weapon. Seppuku doesn't just increase our bleed buildup, but it also grants us a passive 10% weapon damage buff while activated, and it doesn't end there either. I'm also using the talisman Lord of Blood's Exhalation, which gives me a 20% weapon damage buff whenever a bleed buildup procs near me. When we activate the Ash of War Seppuku, it also activates this talisman. So in the end result, we actually get a 30% weapon damage buff, extra bleed buildup that's applied to our weapon, and our weapon passively having 45 bleed buildup alone. One little surprising detail about this is you're not going to want to use the bleed variation on this weapon. You're actually going to want to place the keen version on it, which makes its scaling turn into an A with endurance. You also do more damage with this than the bleed variation. Because this isn't a full-on bleed build, but it is a nice addition, hitting hard while having some bleed buildup on the side. Also, if you proc bleed again on your enemies, you just refresh the Lord of Blood's talisman's damage buff. It all just works out really well. The other weapon we are going to use is the Hand of Malena, which is going to be in our main hand. This gives us two really amazing things for combat now. The first thing is its amazing special that can sometimes one-shot people when landed. And the second thing is another moveset for when we're dual wielding them at the same time. I will say using the Nagakiba with two hands is better just because of its raw damage and range. But this does give you more variety for when you're fighting people, giving them a nice little mix-up. In addition, we can still add more damage to this build very easily. You'll just need a Sacred Seal. You can buy one from the round table for cheap, and it also has really low stat requirements to use it, so it's perfect for this build. Next, you'll need the spell Flame Grant Me Strength, which is going to give us a 20% increased physical damage bonus. So now we're sitting at 50% extra damage after using our Ash of War and the spell Flame Grant Me Strength. There is one last thing we can use to increase our weapon's damage again by another 10%, that being the White Mask. It works in a similar way as the Lord of Blood's talisman. I just wasn't able to get it because I messed up my game a little bit. In total, it's possible to get a 60% weapon damage buff. Again, I'm only able to get 50% because I messed up my game. But looking at the gameplay, it still does the job just fine. Now I'll go over the Flask of Wondrous Physic. It's not extremely important, but every little bit will add up to a lot if you really want to maximize this build. The two tiers I'm using are Dexterity and Strength Knot Crystals. Both of these increase your strength and endurance by 10 levels. Since our weapons scale really well with endurance and a little bit of strength, you'll get some extra damage out of this. And they last for 3 minutes, which is more than enough time to deal with whoever or whatever. The most effective way of using everything is to first drink the Flask of Wondrous Physic, followed up by using the spell Flame Grant Me Strength, and lastly Seppuku. In this order, you'll have the most amount of time possible with all the buffs activated. Now I'll go over the other talismans I'm using before showing you where to find all of these items. The first talisman is the Shard of Alexander, which increases our special attack's damage. that being the Hand of Melena's Flurry attack. The second talisman is Millicent's Prothesis. This increases our dex by 5 levels and increases our damage with successive attacks. Because the Hand of Melena special attacks very rapidly, stacking this buff up. Also, when we dual wield our katanas, you swing them both at the same time, again stacking up for more damage. The third talisman is Prothesis Wearer's Heirloom. It's almost the exact same thing as our second talisman, except it only gives us those 5 levels of dex. In the end, we spend less levels in dex than what we have to. The last talisman is the Lord of Blood's Exulation. Again, this just gives us a 20% weapon damage buff whenever blood loss is activated near us. Now I'll go over where you can find all of these items. The Nagakiba can be found north of the Murkwater Cave by either starting the Bloody Finger Hunter Urist questline and finishing it, or by just killing him. I'm going to recommend not killing him and finishing the questline, because you also get another amazing weapon as well after doing so. The Ash of War Seppuku is located near the Freezing Lake resting place in the mountaintops of the Giants area. From here, you'll want to ride your horse to the blue marker I have set in the map. Here, you'll find an invisible scarab that you'll have to kill for it to drop the Seppuku Ash of War. Don't worry, it's not completely invisible. It leaves behind a trail that you'll be able to see very easily. The Hand of Melena is rewarded after defeating the boss, Melena. She's located on the Eiffel area at the Hailtree Roots resting place. With the Sacred Seal, you can actually buy one from the Twin Sisters, which are located at the Round Table. To get the incantation Flame Grant Me Strength, you'll want to reach Fort Gale North resting place. From here, you'll head south towards Fort Gale, where you'll have to get behind the castle and drop down to pick up the spell. The White Mask is rewarded after killing an invader NPC that is located underground in Sophia's River. The closest resting place is the Palace Approach the Ledge. From here, you just run down, then to the left, and into the Lake of Blood. The NPC will invade you in this area, and all you have to do is just kill it. Lastly, to get the Shard of Alexander, you'll need to finish the Iron Fist Alexander's questline, which can be started by heading south of the War Master's shack, where you'll find him half buried. To get the Prothesis Heirloom's Talisman, you'll need to complete Gowry's side quest, which can be started at Gowry's shack. The nearest resting place is the Church of the Plagued. To get Millicent's Prothesis, you'll need to complete the Millicent's questline, which goes hand in hand with Gowry's quest. This can be started by talking to Millicent that's located at the Church of the Plagued. The Lord of Blood's Exulation can be found in Lyondell's Catacombs, where you'll have to solve a puzzle and then defeat a boss for it to drop it. With the Flask of Wondrous Physic, the Dexterity Crystal can be found in the Liornia Lake on top of a small hill. The Strength Crystal Knot is located near the Storm Hill Shack resting place. From here, you just head up the hill and you'll find it resting inside of a stone bowl. Your choice of armor is completely optional, but if you want to get the same thing I'm using, you'll first need to defeat the boss Malekith the Black Blade. You can find him at the flying area beside the Great Bridge's resting place. After defeating him, you can buy the full armor set from the finger reader Anna located at the round table. They'll cost about 10,000 souls apiece. Lastly, I'll go over the stats required for this build to work. The minimum stat requirements for this are 48 dex, 18 strength, 15 faith, and 28 endurance. I'll also display my stats before and after using all the buffs. That's everything for today's video. I'd like to give a big thanks to the members of my channel for supporting me on my videos and the future ones to come. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.